What's up, everybody? You already know who it is. It's DripGodDero, and I'm back at you guys with another banger. So in today's video, we got to talk about what's next for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, before we do hop into this video, I do appreciate all of the support that you guys have been showing on the most recent videos. Y'all been going crazy, and I ask that you guys do keep that same energy. Road to 1,000 subscribers, man. We grinding, we going hard. So hey, y'all just keep showing the support, and I continue to make these great quality NBA videos. But without further ado, let's switch over and let's get right into it. All right, so as we know, during the 2024 NBA season, the Atlanta Hawks, they had a somewhat lackluster season. They were under 500 when it came to their regular season record, and they ended up making it to the play-in tournament as the 10th seed, but overall they didn't really make a long run. During their first game during the play-in tournament, they ended up losing to the Chicago Bulls. Now, let's be real. Most of us don't really rate the Chicago Bulls as that great of a team, so I could definitely say overall this season has been very disappointing, especially when you look at the roster for the Atlanta Hawks. Now I've always said that the Atlanta Hawks have a great roster, but for some reason they just can't put things together. And for the most part, it's usually on the defensive end. And man, if we just go through some of the stats, you can see that overall the players on the team had pretty efficient scoring seasons overall. When it comes to just their stats, efficiency, all of that. You know, you had DeJounte Murray, who had a standout year, averaging 22.5 points per game, on pretty much 45% field goal percentage and 36% from the three. We know that, just over his career, DeJounte Murray hasn't been a great shooter, but hey, he shot very well. You had some younger players such as Jalen Johnson starting to stand out defensively and offensively. You had a player like DeAndre Hunter making his way back into shape, and he played pretty efficiently, shooting 38% from the three and 45% from the field. And overall, they do have a lot of good pieces, man. Like, if you just want to go off namesake when it comes to these players on this roster, you have a lot of good names. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter, Clint Capella, Okongwu. Like, if you name those players, most people know those players. I'm gonna just keep it real. So overall, you think that they would have a pretty, good team overall, but it just hasn't been the case this year. So what I want to show you guys is the salaries, and also just talk about some good news that actually happened with the Atlanta Hawks. So as you guys can see, man, we have the Atlanta Hawks salary, and y'all see it right here, man. They are 20th when it comes to team payroll. So even with all of these good names, they aren't necessarily, super high when it comes to the payroll, which is great. Most teams who have so many good names, the Trae Youngs, DeJounte Murrays, Clint Capellas, all of that, they tend to have very high payrolls. But ironically, that ain't the case for this Atlanta Hawks team. So when it just comes to overall pay, they're in the green. They're looking good. Now you guys do see that they do have the different key options. Light blue player option, red team option, green is qualifying offer, and purple is two-way contract. And let's just take a look at the salary. So as we can see, Trae Young is locked in for the next 3 years, man. So you can't really expect too much movement with him. Clint Capella will be on the last year of his contract in this upcoming season. DeAndre Hunter is locked in for the next 3 years. Bogdanovich is locked in for the next 3 years. DeJounte Murray is locked in for the next 4 years. And Okongwu is also locked in for the next 4 years. So overall, when you look at it, their starting lineup is pretty much a locked in match. And my question to the Atlanta Hawks fans is, do you feel like they should make a change with their starting lineup? They pretty much, like I said, they pretty much have all of their key players locked in. Do you think it's about time for a change? Me personally, I think it may be. But I'm going to say that for when I really break things down. But to just continue scrolling down, you got some young players who are pretty good locked in, such as Jalen Johnson and AJ Griffin. Sadiq Bey, he has a qualifying offer this upcoming season, so he may leave. We don't know. But yeah, man, just to really get to the nitty gritty on my thoughts on this team and what's next for this team. Like I said before earlier in the video, some interesting news did come up. They did end up getting the number 1 draft pick. So they will be choosing first when it comes to the NBA draft. And with them getting that changes everything. That literally changes everything, because usually when you're a team like the Atlanta Hawks, where you aren't good, but you aren't horrible, most teams, they usually have to either rebuild or, just trade for a top tier star. But with the Atlanta Hawks already having the number 1 draft pick, that gives them, more time to really try to flesh out their team and figure out what will work and what won't work. Now, the interesting topic is, what player do you choose during the draft? Now, as we know, this Atlanta Hawks team, they are pretty, packed in multiple positions. When it comes to the guard position, they got Trae Young, who is the star player. You got DeJounte Murray, the second star player. Two of the players that you paying the most money to. So do you really want to get a guard? When it comes to the center position, you got Clint Capella and Okongwu, who are both pretty good centers or big men. So at that point, it's like, do you really want to get a center? So it's really a tough question to really answer. I'd say the only position that's really questionable is maybe the small forward area with DeAndre Hunter and also AJ Griffin, or the other dude, Jalen Johnson. That's probably the only area where it's questionable. But me personally, what's next for the Atlanta Hawks? What is next for the Atlanta Hawks? What I gotta do is I gotta make sure I ace this draft. Me personally, I'm going with a guard. I'm at the point, and this is just my opinion, I know a lot of Atlanta Hawks fans might not like this, but I'm at the point where I'm testing the water with Trae Young. Man, at this point, because he's such a polarizing player, being it that, offensively he can go crazy, but at the same time, defensively, he's horrible. And he's so horrible that it literally causes a detriment to your other players on your team defensively, that at this point, I'm testing the waters with him. And I'm just hoping that I find a pretty good guard in the draft. At the same time, let's be real, you got Star, who is a center, and it's like, do you just take the best talent available? So that's really a question that will be interesting to see the Atlanta Hawks really choose on. Going for a different guard and moving on from Trae Young due to his defensive liabilities, or just getting the best talent available. Me personally, I think this team has a lot of talent, and I would just go for a better guard. Me personally, I know a lot of people not gonna like this, but I would go for a better guard. I think Trae Young, he just is too much of a defensive liability for him to be the best player on the team. Number two, you kind of got to start questioning Quinn Snyder at this point. Like I said, this team has a great roster, but they tend to come up short time and time again. So you really got to start questioning the coaching of Quinn Snyder. The final thing I would say is you gotta upgrade the bench. I do think that they do need a little more help when it comes to their bench. When it comes to their starting lineup, they cool, they solid, but when it comes to their bench, it ain't much there. So that's the third thing that I would do. But hey, if you enjoyed this video, you already know what to do. Like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the motherfucking channel, turn on notifications and all that good stuff, and I'm out. Peace.